Today, I have a very special guest. She's a voice activation coach who helps women protect their inner voice, especially in relationships, so they can stay true to themselves while opening their heart. Welcome, Phaedra, to the Stop Chasing Unavailable Guys podcast.
Thank you.
Phaedra La Reine is a speaker, voice activation coach, and Lisa Nichols certified transformational trainer who helps people stop playing small and use their voice with confidence. Based in the Netherlands with roots in Curacao, she lives with her 2 adult sons and is currently in a new chapter of love at 48. Her work focuses on protecting your inner voice, especially in relationships, so you can stay true to yourself while opening your heart. If you're not subscribed yet, make sure you do that now so you don't miss this season. I'm so happy to have you here, Phaedra, to start off this wonderful conversation.
Yeah, I'm really happy to be here. Thank you for the invite.
I like to ask my guests about their story of how they started doing what they're doing. So can you tell us, your story of how you became a voice activation coach and why this work is important to you?
Yes. Well, it all started with my divorce. A couple of years ago, I worked in real estate and I was really doing my best to make a happy life for me and my family. And when my husband told me after 17 years that he wanted a divorce, it completely blindsided me. I didn't see it coming. And I was, I think, as shocked by the fact that I didn't see it coming as I was by the fact that he wanted a divorce. Because usually I see for everybody, I see all the red flags and I think I'm really good at, reading people. So I started doubting myself. I was like, how did I not see this? What happened? How could I have been so blind? And going through that divorce and thinking about that, I realized that the reason was that I wasn't listening to myself anymore. All the time I was really busy with, planning the future, working very hard, taking care of everybody. And I didn't check in with myself in the present. And that realization kind of changed everything for me. Because I also figured out that even though I was working in real estate for over 20 years, that wasn't really what I wanted to do. I kind of just rolled into it. And then everybody expected me to do it. So I was like, okay, no, not anymore. I'm going to listen to my own voice again. I'm going to do the things I wanted to do. So I always say I went into my season of reinventing myself, rediscovering myself. And yeah, when I went through that process and I finally figured out hey, this is what I want to do, I stopped with real estate. I had my divorce and I just started over. And then I thought, well, if I needed this, there are probably a lot of women who also need this. So let me help them out.
Yes.
And that's how I became a voice activation coach.
I love that. And I love the re-era.
Yeah.
Reinventing.
Yeah.
That's a great way to put it. And especially around finding your voice. And so can we kind of go a little more into about what does it mean to you? Well, first of all, what do you mean by inner voice and kind of protecting or expressing your inner voice? Can you talk more about that part?
Yeah. So your inner voice, it's you have that little voice in your head or that gut feeling that you need to do something differently or you want to say something, but then you don't. It's kind of what we learn, right? We learn to adapt. We learn to please people. We learn to just make ourselves smaller so others can be more, right? That's most women learn how to do that. And I noticed that in my marriage, in my 17-year relationship, I became a little bit quieter each year. So I started adapting and adapting and adapting. And I learned that when I went through my divorce, I didn't recognize myself anymore. I was like, okay, so I know who I am or who I was as his wife, but who am I without him? And that's all because that somewhere I stopped listening to my own voice, my inner voice. So that's the reason, or that's for me, that's the inner voice. And you just lose yourself when you stop listening to it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And so how did you go about starting to protect your inner voice
Well, it
after
starts,
that experience?
yeah, it kind of starts with choosing for yourself. So like really, I literally stood in front of the mirror and said to myself, okay, I choose me now, me first. And then it's like, you know, how they say with the airplane that you have to put your own mask on first before you can do it with your children or whatever, right? It's kind of the same. You have to put yourself first, and then you can like help others without losing yourself. So that's what was really important to do. And that's how I started with that. And then I started listening, and then I started trying to recognize where it went wrong and was still going wrong, because, you know, it wasn't like instantly I changed and I
Mm-hmm.
did it differently. It's a process. It takes years to lose your voice. So it also takes some time to get it back, right? And it
Yes.
starts with kind of recognizing when you are staying quiet and not telling your truth. When you recognize that, that's like step one, right? And then you can like start learning to, well, you can explore actually, like, why am I not telling them my truth? Why am I staying quiet? Is it a certain person where I stay quiet? Is it a certain situation where I stay quiet? So it all starts with recognizing those situations.
Yeah, I really like that because it doesn't have to be in every single situation. Maybe you have a very expressive inner voice, or you're able to express yourself freely in certain ways. And I would say a lot of women who listen to this podcast are very successful in a lot of ways. And when it comes to the relationship or finding love, they find that their voice goes away, or they don't trust their inner voice somehow. So it's very helpful, this conversation that we're having today, because you may be very good at expressing yourself in other areas of your life, and it just might be the one area is the block would be the relationship part. So I like how we're highlighting this.
Yeah, and especially with the relationship part, if that's where you're silencing your voice, it's usually because, you know, especially when we're like over 40, we feel like we have a lot to lose if we express ourselves and, you know, people don't like it. So in order to keep everything stable and to make sure everything just, you know, kind of goes the way it goes, we silence ourselves, especially the women over 40, because, yeah, we have the life experience most of the time. We know how it is to lose something and we don't want to start over and stuff like that, you know. So that even more keeps us quiet.
Yeah. So that's what you would say why most women over 40 especially would lose their voice is a lot of the feeling that the stakes are higher, there's more to lose. Is that kind of what you were saying?
Yeah, yeah. The fear of conflict, like you said, more at stake, the fear of starting over. And the thing is, because of that, you know, and because we want to feel safe, we start editing ourselves. So we want to say something, and sometimes we do, but then we do it, you know, a little bit, just a little bit to see how it goes. And, you know, we're not really expressing ourselves. And that's also because a lot of us haven't learned how to express ourselves in a safe way.
Yeah. And so how would you say that someone would recognize when they really feel unsafe expressing their voice? What would be some things that they might experience?
Well, the most they experience is probably that they feel, or in their head they want to like answer or say something, but then they don't. You know that feeling when you had a conversation and then afterwards you think like, "Ah, I should have said that,"
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
You just leave the conversation and, you know, you keep thinking like, oh, but that wasn't fair, oh, maybe I should have said something, and, you know, and then you get the struggle in your head like, why didn't I say something? I should have said something, I could have said this, oh, but maybe then he would have, So
Yeah.
you have that like whole struggle in your head. When you have that, you kind of know, like, okay, but so I stayed quiet.
Yeah. There's a big block there. And
Yeah.
I know I've definitely done that in my life where you go over the perfect answer, everything
Hmm.
afterwards, and say, oh, this would have been so great if I had said that, or
Yeah.
if I had done this. And it's there's quite a feeling of regret and maybe a lot of self blaming or self shaming when you
Yeah.
do that, or if you have a habit of doing that, and finding the perfect answer afterwards and not being able to say it. So I think there is quite a lot of shame around this topic also.
Yeah, especially when in other fields of your life you do express yourself, especially when you're like in leadership function or something, a leadership position, and you speak and you express a lot, right? So people know that you're able to express yourself. And then when in a relationship when you don't, then that self blame or that shame is even bigger, because then it's like, I can do it when I'm at work, so why didn't I do it here? I know what I want to say. And a lot of people probably see you as a strong and confident woman. Or so it's like you think like the world expects you to express yourself because you're strong, because you're confident, because you're successful. And then in the relationship, you silence yourself. So the shame there really is a thing as well.
Yeah. I think this is going to resonate with a lot of women because I think this is very common, especially what you were saying around, well, I can do it in this situation, why can't I do it in what might be the more important situation, like the relationship where you really want to express yourself and it feels like a big gap between the way you are in other areas and in relationships. And so the hopefully the pattern will be not to blame yourself. So maybe we can talk about how you can actually express yourself or express your inner voice, your truth, without pushing someone away or doing it in a way that feels like authentic to you, but also good for the other person as well. How do you find that balance?
Yeah, well, the thing is, the fear is mostly inside ourselves. So we stay quiet because of that fear. But nobody said that's like, a real thing. If you want to speak your truth, if you want to express your inner voice, when you do that calm, and when you do that from a as a grounded expression, so you don't blame the other or whatever, you just calmly say how it makes you feel or what you want to say about something or what you think about something. It's a whole different energy than it is when you like, start screaming or blaming or whatever. And usually the other person will actually accept it and respect you for it. And all the time you were like in fear, like, ooh, maybe I'm gonna lose that person. But if you actually lose that person, it's not because you just expressed yourself. You lost that person a while ago.
That's a very good point. I like that. Yeah,
So,
it's never really one thing that if you said one thing that the whole relationship is going to fall apart. I really like that truth because it's like things were probably already falling apart, or it wouldn't matter what you would say, it would
right.
still be, ending. So,
Exactly. And if it was
yeah.
just that one thing, if it is that one thing, then you should question, like, do I want to be with that person, right?
Yeah. You don't want to be with someone who's going to react that strongly to you telling your truth
Yeah.
or react at all. And I find the times when I've been scared to express myself and I did have a very heartfelt conversation that felt very vulnerable, that usually the other person, you feel so much closer to them and you feel so much more understood and seen, and you learn something about yourself, you learn something about the other person. So it's usually a very positive experience, like you were saying.
Yeah, it is. And the longer you stay quiet, the more likely it is that when you finally express yourself, it will come out frustrated, emotional, very reactive. And that's what clashes, right? So if you express your truth the moment it's there and you do it calmly and you do it grounded, it's a whole other energy and a whole other conversation.
Yes, exactly. I like that. So, going on to something that if someone's listening right now and they're really resonating with what we're talking about, what is the one simple way that they can start protecting their inner voice today, or to do some practical steps that they can get started today?
Yeah, like I said, the most important one, the first step is recognizing. So I would suggest that you take the time to really notice when you stay quiet. So just start with that. If every time you like think like, oh, I should have said this, take a moment to think like, why didn't I? You know, why not just like, oh, maybe if I did, this could happen, that could happen, because, well, you know, that's, you won't know that because you didn't express yourself. But do think about, why did I stay quiet? And that's the first step. When you recognize these moments, and then you also recognize if it's with a certain situation or a certain person or a certain environment. When you recognize that, then you can like start working on, okay, let's, you know, try to express myself instead of staying quiet. Because now I know in a certain situation, okay, I'm probably going to be quiet, right? So when that situation occurs, you can like actively think like, no, I'm going to say something today. And I'm
You
going
can
to do it
prepare yourself.
calmly. You can prepare yourself. But in order to prepare yourself, you need to recognize it first.
Yeah. I mean, this is so, as you're saying this, it's like something that feels very, very profound, but like it sounds simple, but it is very life changing because, you know,
Yes.
if you don't recognize when you're actually not speaking up and in certain situations, it seems like it would just change everything if you were able to understand more about yourself and your voice. It's just, I'm just kind of like
Yeah.
taking it in right now and realizing, wow, this is very easy for someone to start doing today.
Yeah.
And it's such a profound thing, and yet it is very easy and simple to do.
Yeah. So just recognize it and listen to your voice. That comes with it as well. Because when you realize like, oh, I stayed quiet, then also try to listen to your inner voice like, but what was it that I wanted to say? So what was it I wanted to say, and why didn't I say it? Just
Yeah,
start there.
that's. And would you recommend like writing it down or journaling what you would have said or anything like that to get it out or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's proven that journaling can really help, right? For me personally, it didn't work because I had like a whole thing against the journaling, so that got in the way of, you know, the actual effect. But if it does work for you, you can do that. You can also do like, if you don't like journaling, you can do little voice memos to yourself. So just do speak, like say what you wanted to say, but do it like in a private environment. So either do a voice memo or stand in front of the mirror and really look at yourself in your eyes and then say what you wanted to say. And that's like already a little bit the next step, but then you're kind of practicing expressing your voice. And
Yeah.
recording it means you can listen back to it. So then you can actually hear like, okay, am I like, you know, is my tone of voice like really angry, or am I really calm? And you can experience with that as well.
Yeah, I love that. And especially the mirror, because I know that there's profound healing in witnessing yourself, speaking up and using your voice. It is incredibly healing. And I know there's been many practitioners over the years who have, you know, suggested mirror work. And
Yeah.
so I like this very specific thing around mirror work with your voice. I think it's going to help a lot
Yeah.
of women.
And you can combine it. You can stand in front of the mirror and record it.
Yeah,
So,
that's perfect.
right? So, okay, you can say it to yourself and then you can hear it back.
And get the best of both worlds. That's
Yeah.
perfect. Well, this has been extremely helpful. And I'm sure there's women listening right now who want to know more about you and where they can find you and anything you have that is happening right now that you want to tell them about.
Yeah, well, I'm based in the Netherlands, but I do also work online and speak English. So
Very
my
well.
website, it is in Dutch, but I think if you approach it from another country, it translates. And I have a challenge, a 5-day challenge that I offer for free, where you get to work in 5 sessions with me online. So I'm gonna help you like start recognizing your inner voice. It's just five sessions from half an hour to 45 minutes or something. You can through my website you can book the first session, and then with the first session we will see what time works best for the both of us. But it will help you. You don't have to do it alone. It will help you just get started.
Yeah. I mean, this sounds amazing for anyone who really feels like they want this support. And I know in the work that I do, and people listening to this podcast probably really resonate with this and being able to speak up when it comes to finding love and dating. And even if it goes beyond that into other areas of your life, this is a very, very useful way to, because as you express yourself authentically, that's when you attract those authentic people who are like you and who will be a good match for you. So it's a very good
Yeah.
skill to have, actually. So we really, really appreciate you coming onto the podcast, Phaedra, and giving me your insight and wisdom from your own experience. So thank you so much for being here.
Yes, you're welcome. And again, thank you for inviting me. And I really hope the women listening can start listening to their inner voice as well.
Yes, absolutely. And so thank you everyone for listening. And remember, you can't make Mr. Unavailable love you, but you can find someone who does. And love is closer than you think.